Hello, world, and welcome to Psych 41, the psychology of biology. Today, we'll be discussing the neurotransmission process. According to healthybrains.org, every day our brain processes about 70,000 thoughts. Wow, that's a lot of thinking. But do you know how those thoughts are actually generated? If not, hang on to your seat. You will by the end of this video. Let's take a journey into our brains, or should I say, this brain, and learn how thinking starts and how it evolves into action. Welcome to the intricate world of your mind and body, where neurons live and communicate all day long. This neuron is a specialized cell that transmits information throughout the nervous system. Neurons are responsible for everything from thoughts and feelings to movements and reflexes. There are about 1 billion neurons in the human brain just waiting to heed your beck and call. These are two neurons that are communicating information to one another. Let's dig a little deeper into the mechanisms and terms involved in the communication process. At the resting potential, a neuron maintains a stable electrical charge across its membrane of 70 MV. This is achieved by the selective movement of ions called sodium and potassium, moving through ion channels in the neuron's membrane. These channels are like gatekeepers standing tall to regulate the flow of ions that are coming in and out of the cell. Of course, no, the neurons are not always at rest. It only becomes active when it receives signals from other neurons through its dendrites. A dendrite is this tree-like branch structure that extends from the cell body of the neuron and possesses these antennas from the neuron that are transmitting signals towards the cell body. When these signals reach a certain threshold, an action potential is triggered. This brief but powerful electrical impulse travels down the axon along the long projection of the neuron. The action potential originates at a critical point called the axon hillock. This is when the neuron makes the decision, whether or not to actually send that signal. Once the decision is made, the neuron becomes depolarized, meaning that the electrical charge that's inside the neuron, it becomes less negative, allowing sodium ions to massively flood in through the ion channels. After this action potential scores big, the neuron briefly enters an absolute refractory period. Unfortunately, during this period, it cannot fire another action potential because neurons actually have their own laws to follow, and this one is called the all or none law, stating that an action potential either fires completely or not at all. So, when two neurons begin communicating at the synapse, this tiny little gap between them keeping them from touching, it's at the end of an axon are these axon terminals which contain neurotransmitters. Did I already mention that neurotransmitters are chemical messengers that actually work to help transmit signals from one neuron to the next? Yep, it's true. They have their very own little helpers along with their laws. Once an action potential reaches the axon terminals, it triggers oxycytosis. That means the neurotransmitters are released into the synapse. These lucky transmitters bind to receptors on the dendrites of the postsynaptic neuron. This binding can be excitatory or inhibitory. Let me try that again. This binding can be excitatory or inhibitory, leading to either excitation or inhibition of the postsynaptic neuron. Excitatory neurotransmitters cause the postsynaptic neuron to generate an excitatory postsynaptic potential, giving a higher potential of firing and action potential. In contrast, though, inhibitory transmitters create an inhibitory postsynaptic potential, making it less likely for the postsynaptic neuron to fire at all. Neural communication is happening all the time, and it involves graded potentials, which are small changes in the membrane potential. These can summate through spatial summation or temporal summation to influence whether or not the postsynaptic neuron actually fires an action potential. After neural transmission takes place, some neurotransmitters are taken back into the presynaptic neuron through reuptake, a process that recycles transmitters and regulates their levels in the synapse. Yep, you heard it right. Our brains are actually recycling. How cool is that? Neurons are so smart. Finally, the sodium potassium pump begins its vital role in maintaining the resting potential. It actively transports sodium ions out and potassium ions in the neuron against their concentration gradients. Isn't the neural transmission process pretty amazing? As we depart the world of neurotransmission, we can see it is a fascinating and remarkable process of electrical and chemical signals working together to relay and convey information between neurons, causing actions or not causing them. Understanding what's happening inside our magical brains, it really empowers us and gives us learning terms and new mechanisms and understanding exactly how neurons allow us to see the world and feel it. As an insight to the brilliant complexities of the human brain communication system, I'm so excited to share with you the neural process. This has been an informative presentation by Mignon Farmani, psychology major on a mission. Thanks for watching, or should I say listening? Bye.